Hello, welcome to another Tweedy Outdoors video. I am at Northchapel, in Northchapel, by the Half Moon pub. Just recorded some footage of this absolutely stunningly beautiful pub, which if you want to see, you'll have to go look at the Tweedy Pubs channel. I'll put up a video of it there. The plan from here is to walk back to Haslemere station. I'm just out for a daytime walk. Hopefully find a nice spot to cook my lunch. And I'm going to take in Blackdown, which is the hill which is actually the highest point in the South Downs National Park, although it's not really connected to the South Downs hill range, formerly owned by Tennyson. So if you're interested in some hill walking, possibly poetry corner, bit of outdoor cooking, then stay tuned. I have in fact done this walk before in December 2019, so getting on for 4 years ago now. I did it in reverse that time. Started at Haslemere, walked to Blackdown, and then carried on to the beautiful Half Moon Inn at Northchapel, and then got a taxi back from there to Haslemere. So this time I took the train to Haslemere, taxi to Northchapel, and then I'm walking back to Haslemere that way. I can't actually remember exactly last time how I got from Blackdown to Northchapel, so I'm sort of possibly going a slightly different route, but none of that matters, does it? Following this country lane for the earlier stages of the walk from Northchapel to Blackdown. Maybe hard to convey how absolutely euphoric this is. I'm just walking along a country lane, a tree-lined, admittedly quite pretty country lane. Just the sense of being away from other humans and being surrounded by all this greenery. Sense of the season, the bushes, the hedges filled with blackberries and haws and sloes. The stillness of it. This is just absolutely delightful, and I've barely started the walk. Interesting gate system here. Suppose one just straddles it. Ugh, excuse me. And then I think up here we get our first glimpse of Blackdown. Good afternoon, ladies. Don't mind me, just passing through. Crossing a road again, lovely old black and white sign there. I think that's a kind of puffball, but it almost looks like a white truffle there on the ground. I'm afraid I've had to remove a layer of tweed. I always say that, I don't mean, you know, still wearing my trousers, look, fear not. An upper layer of tweed, starting to get a bit warm. So the forecast said not much over 20 degrees today, but I'm moving and I'm heading uphill, currently at about 120 meters altitude, but I believe the top of Blackdown is in the high 200s, 280, something like that. Approaching the car park for the Temple of the Winds atop Blackdown now, but what's that little squiggle next to the big blue P symbol? It looks like someone sort of tied a bow, like they're tying their shoelaces around the road there. It's very odd. Is that just a map error? It's not on my screen, look, it's I don't know if you can see behind me, but where the van is parked there, I think that's it, the car park for the Temple of the Winds. Pretty small. I imagine it would be larger than that with sort of signposts and things, but hopefully that means it'll be nice and quiet on top. There is no escaping the fact it's going to be a bit of a hard slog up from here, possibly getting on for 100 meters to climb. Don't know if I spin you around, perhaps you can get a sense of that. It's relatively steep. Puffballs there, slightly larger ones. Rather an infestation, in fact. Could it be? But I am here. Yes, it looks like it. Temple of the Winds. That was a bit of a slog. Consequently a bit out of breath. Wonky camera work time. Trying to get the horizon straight, but look at that view. It was probably overcast last time I was here, but stunning. You can see over to the ridge of the South Downs proper. I think we're in the South Downs National Park, but this isn't the main line of hills that people would associate with the South Downs. You can see that ridge over there on the horizon. Beyond there, I suppose, the sea, which of course we can't see. Okay, here is my ridiculous cooking setup here at the Temple of the Winds on Blackdown. Today I'm going to be making Thai green curry. Usual trusty billy can with me. Into that, a jar, a small old peppercorn jar. There really were peppercorns in here, weirdly enough, of rice, perhaps a bit too much. Goes into there, and correspondingly, this is Japanese rice as it happens, just happens to be what we had in at home. For other types of rice, I would probably use about 1.5 the quantity of water, but normally for Japanese rice, we seem to do 1 1/3, so it's going to be very approximate, of course. All right, more like 1.5. Put that on until that comes to a boil. Small selection of vegetables, more for colour really than anything else. The only thing I actually need to chop are these small red peppers. They look like chili peppers, they're actually just regular peppers. I think the knife's clean. This little knife's not actually bad for doing things like peppers. Right, is that enough chopping? Turned the rice, it came up to a boil very quickly. Turn that down to the absolute lowest setting I can manage on my gas burner without it switching off. Perhaps I will take that off now, just let it sit for a bit. I can smell something has actually burnt already, amazingly. Probably needs a heavier bottom pan, I guess. But I'm having to bend down a little bit to get both myself and the pan in shot, but hopefully this is sort of working. More terrible camera work from Tweedy. Some oil in the pan, just regular sunflower oil, any sort of vegetable cooking oil type thing will do. From here, it's, you know, it's really alarmingly straightforward. Just all of the stuff goes in the pan for a bit of a fry up. These are, well, some lumps of something very vaguely approximating meat, and these are tofu puffs. Actually, they'd be better sliced in half. Let's give those a quick chop. So tofu puffs and miscellaneous meat-like substance can go in there and give that a bit of a stir fry. This is a completely normal way to spend a Wednesday lunchtime, isn't it? Green curry paste, it was in my freezer. It was actually sort of a lollipop. You know, the idea is you can use these sort of individual portions without opening up a jar that then gets left in your fridge for 6 months and not used. Probably a bit too much for this amount of food, but I might as well stick. Well, I'll just stick it all in. A bit of a mix around. Thai curry paste has had a bit of a cook through, and the only final step now is to put in this cute tin of coconut milk. Notice this issue before, the coconut milk sort of solidifies on top. Once you open into it, you suddenly get an explosion of all the liquid underneath. Okay, well, can just leave that there to simmer for a bit now. While it's cooking away, I don't know, give it 10 minutes or whatever. I have, of course, brought with me some completely inappropriate wine. This is some Nuit Saint-Georges. It's a Premier Cru from a vineyard called Les Prouliers. My old favourite producer, Philippe Gavinier, and the vintages are 2012. So I'll do the sort of wine talk and turn it into a wine with Tweedy video. I'll go and stand over there with a view perhaps, and if you're interested you can go and take a look at that video. Well, I think that is looking pretty good now. I wish I could say the same thing for the rice. I don't seem to have much luck with cooking billy can rice. It only really just came to the boil. Didn't certainly leave it there bubbling away for ages. I don't know if you can see, it definitely has black bits in the bottom, and it only takes a little bit of burning on the bottom and it just sullies the flavour of the whole thing, and that is just about cooked, but the slightly burnt flavour is really not pleasant. Oh well. Still needs work on the technique there, I think, for cooking rice with a billy can. Think I can get a thumbnail out of this? Let's taste this, shall we? First of all, a bit of Thai green. The sauce is pretty nice. Yeah, bit of a kick to it. Vegetables are crunchy but not beyond the pale. Very nice. That worked very well. The rice, not so much, but it's edible. Thought while here at the Temple of the Winds. Is it Temple of the Winds? Temple of the Four Winds? Tennyson's, one of Tennyson's favourite viewpoints. Would be appropriate for a poetry corner with Tweedy time. Apologies, I'm going to have to read this from my phone. Thought something autumnal might be appropriate. We're only kind of almost halfway into September. Tears, idle tears, I know not what they mean. Tears from the depth of some divine despair rise in the heart and gather to the eyes, in looking on the happy autumn fields and thinking on the days that are no more. Of course, while I was reading Tennyson poetry there like a complete plonker, thinking I had the place all to myself at that moment, a man and his dog showed up. Didn't say anything, just stood there, looked at the view for a minute. So I'm going to have the rest of this glass of wine, enjoy this beautiful scenery for a little bit longer, the view from Temple of the Winds, Temple of the Four Winds, Temple of whatever number of winds this is. And then I shall head on my walk from here back to Haslemere. This is a spectacular spot, and up until the moment the man and his dog arrived, I felt very lucky to have this to myself for, I don't know how long I've been here now, is it an hour perhaps? Hashtag leave no trace. Okay, somewhat reluctantly leaving this beautiful spot. I should make it less than 4 years before I come here again. It's heather, even look at that. Some very nicely placed benches here on Blackdown. That is a beauty. The way that tree has hollowed out there. Another interestingly placed bench. Off the top of Blackdown now, following the Sussex border path, which I think for at least some of the way is also the Serpent's Way. Quite a difference in character now in the greenery, sort of more wide open up there, a bit more dense, atmospheric down here. Nice patch of beech trees here. Very much past their best, but these look a bit like they might be boletes to me. Where we can see underneath. Maybe. Good gosh, look at that. Absolute monster. I'm pretty sure that's porcini. Boletus edulis. There's my fist. But, you know, very much past it. It's right by the path. What a shame. That would have been a lovely specimen. Out in the open now. It's about 4 PM. I have to admit my pace has slowed to a bit of a dawdle at this point. Not making much progress on my return. Not making swift progress on my return to Haslemere. It's almost as though I'm slightly reluctant to go back to the big city. Very smart house. Very pleasant country lane now. It has a little stream running alongside it. Come back and turn over. Just a slightly sort of subtropical theme with all the lush verdant foliage going over that stream there. Oh, and the bollards. Look like potatoes on that bank there, more puffballs. Funny little footpath now which runs alongside the A286, and hopefully this will take me most of the way to Haslemere from here. Were it not for the A road right next to it, it would be quite pleasant actually, with these tall beech trees, very mature, ivy growing up them. There's that smoke over there. Right, inside Haslemere now, not far to the station. This may be the last bit of greenery. Right, I am now back at Haslemere station, about 7 miles in total. Felt a bit longer than that, but I suppose that was the hills, etc. I think I've managed the holy trinity today of hopefully churning out a Tweedy Outdoors video, a Wine with Tweedy video, and a Tweedy Pubs video. So if you're into either of those other things, do please take a look at the others. Other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.